Hey everybody, and welcome to the Album of the Week, where I talk a little bit about the album that I'm listening to for part of the week or maybe the whole week. You don't know. And this week we're going way back, and also it shows my age. I'm old. I'm this near death. All right, look. It's Huey Lewis's album, Sports, and came out in what, like 1983? As I always say, I'm going to comment about the cover. This is definitely a cover of its time. I like some of the, adding some of the blue to Huey's eyes there, but do I like this cover? No. I do like some 80s covers, but I don't like this one. There's some little hidden things going on in the image here, but yeah, I don't like this cover. But I will say that their next album, 4, the album cover was even worse. So, sorry guys. Don't like those covers at all. Sign of the Times, do like some 80s covers, don't like that. But as I always do, a little story behind this album. Never owned this album back in the day. I might have recorded some of the songs off the radio because I'm aging myself even more. We'd record songs off the radio on a cassette tape and just wait for them to play it. So I had a couple of the singles there. But yeah, never owned it. Picked this old version up probably in an antique shop. See, I'm like buying albums that the Egyptians listen to. But I picked up this album at an antique shop somewhere, I think in Charleston, South Carolina, if I remember right. So this is the first time I've actually owned a copy of this album. And it's been, I think I purchased this back in like 2015 or something like that. So, hey, I actually bought an old album that I never owned. So it's cool to listen to. It doesn't skip too much. The album's in okay condition. But a little story behind this album is, for some of you that know and for some of you that don't know, I used to go to Christian schools back in the day in my high school and middle school time. And, well, you know, the school I went to didn't like the rock and roll because it was of the devil. And so luckily, my parents did listen to rock and roll, especially my dad. So, in fact, when I got older, when the grunge movement hit, my dad would steal like my Pearl Jam CDs and listen to them. So kudos, Dad, for liking the rock music. So I'd go to school during the day and they'd preach against the rock music, and then I'd go home and my dad would have the rock music cranked. So it was a little bit of like a bipolar thing happening there with my musical taste, but I always liked the rock, always listened to the rock. You couldn't tell me not to listen to the rock. Sorry, school. But the funny part about this is we had a Bible class, and during that time, and I'm not going to mention any names, but if you're watching this, you might know who you are. We had a substitute teacher come in during Bible class, and he was talking about something. I don't remember how it got to this point, but at one point, and he specifically stated he was quoting Heart of Rock and Roll from the Huey Lewis and the New Sports album. He was quoting the lyrics, and I think he actually mentioned the band. And I remember like kind of zoning out, not paying much attention because, I'm in school, it's Bible class, I'm zoning out. And when he started mentioning the lyrics to Heart of Rock and Roll, I was like, what's happening? What dimension am I in right now? And I was like, 1, why is he doing that? 2, I can't believe he's doing that. And 3, cool, he's doing that. So yeah, I just thought it was neat. That's when I see the Sports album, I go back to Bible class and my teacher randomly quoting lyrics from the poet laureate Huey Lewis. So yeah, and so that's my little story about that. I will say as well that someday the second track, Heart and Soul, off this Sports album, it is like a really cool little riff in there on the chorus, and it's like it's heart and soul. Dun, 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 dun. It's got this little edge to it there on the chorus, and I will one day before I die, which maybe I will, maybe I won't, but I'm going to try to cover that song, and because it's just dying for a hardcore punk version, especially when you get to that dun 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 dun. I mean, I can just hear it in my head like playing that, and just like it's just Huey Lewis wrote a song that needs a circle pit. And I can just feel that breakdown. If you don't hear the most killer hardcore breakdown in that song, where just everybody just starts just throwing down right in the crowd there and just going nuts, well then, you really haven't listened to this album. So listen to Heart and Soul, listen to that breakdown part, and just imagine like the hardest band ever, just like grabbing that and just taking that riff and just smashing it. So one day I'm going to do it. And for the record, on their next album, 4, we did cover the Hip to Be Square, but it was more like tongue-in-cheek. It wasn't as, we didn't make it that edgy, but Heart and Soul, going to be edgy. I'm going to tell you that. So that's my promise to you. Someday there will be a Huey Lewis in the News cover for Heart and Soul. And listen to it, please. It'll be on Spotify, of course. So that's my album of the week. What's your album of the week? Leave it in the comments below if you have something. Or just listen to some Huey Lewis in the News and just ignore the cover. And I'll check you guys out next time.